Hey folks, across the vast timeline of the Zelda series, Link goes through some pretty crazy stuff. In Ocarina of Time, he's sealed within the Sacred Realm for 7 years and is released to a Ganondorf-seized Hyrule. In the Wind Waker, he's a little island lad who leaves his cozy home island with a group of pirates to try and save his sister. In the latest installment, Breath of the Wild, he wakes up 100 years after a near kingdom-ending apocalypse. But for me personally, the craziest of the bunch is what happens in the events of Twilight Princess. After the opening segments of this amazing adventure, Link is met with a big black shadowy wall blocking his way. Before even knowing what it is, a large hand comes right through and pulls Link to the other side. Once over here, within moments, the hero begins to change. Link, in one of the coolest cutscenes ever, turns into a wolf, giving us Wolf Link, or at least my, teenage obsession. It was just so badass to see Link turn into a literal wolf, but why exactly does he turn into a wolf? It's of course to do with passing through this wall into a twilight shrouded area of the land, but why a wolf? Why not a spirit like others? Why not another animal? Why specifically a wolf? Today, we'll explore the lore behind why my teenage crush bad boy Link of Twilight Princess turns into a wolf, and some of the lore around it. Be sure to go and grab yourself a snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, really helps the channel out, and let's get into this one. Firstly, let's take a closer look at the scene in which Link makes his big Twilight audition. Didn't get the part. Sorry buddy. Both to recap and for those who might not know. So rather early on in the game, after the opening tutorial, Link and his village friends are assaulted by King Bulblin and his bandits. The brute takes off with the hero's friends and he wakes up to see them all gone. He goes on the chase to get them back, but is met with that previously mentioned thick black wall. This is the border between a safe piece of land and a now infected Twilight piece of land. After a brief moment of hesitation, Link steps near and is suddenly pulled through by a large hand. After being violently pulled into the Twilight-infected Hyrule, he is held by the throat by a shadow beast. But the hero's destiny, his Triforce of Courage power within, allows him to burst free. Upon catching his breath, he begins to change. The Triforce symbol in his hand glows bright, and in a sort of parallel feel of emotions to the transition with Masks and Majora's Mask, Link painfully turns into a beast. Wolf Link, a divine beast marked with the traits of the hero. Following this, he passes out, and is taken to Hyrule Castle by the Shadow Beast to be imprisoned. I guess those powers weren't so divine. We see Midna, our companion-to-be, watch over all of this, and then help Link break free of the castle, meet Princess Zelda, free his region of Ordon from the Twilight, and progress through the story. But at this point, pretty much all of Hyrule is shrouded in Twilight following Zant's invasion, the false king of the Twilight Realm. To learn more about that lore, check out the Zelda wiki links below. But for now, that scene is all we need to know going forward. So why did he turn into a wolf? Well, later in the game, before the hero and Midna venture into the actual Twilight Realm to put a stop to Zant, again, the man who caused all of this mess, Midna tells us a bit more about that earlier scene. She says that, in our world, we've long believed that the hero would appear as a divine beast. No, not these ones, we're talking about one people like. Meaning, the people of the Twilight Realm definitely know of the prophecy of the hero. I mean, their origin does stem from Hyrule to a degree, so it's not odd at all. There's something I haven't touched on yet is why Midna, a being of the Twilight Realm, went after Link to help him anyway. Well, her brief backstory is that she is the Twilight Princess, but was overthrown by Zant, unrightfully. Zant was turning the realm, the place of her people and where she calls home, into a terrible place. Midna fled to Hyrule to find a solution to help her and her people, but it wasn't all in good intent. In that later cutscene where she explains the whole wolf thing, she also mentions that her original intent was to use Link for her own agenda, disregarding the effects of the light world that Hyrule is in, meaning she was prepared to leave the mess caused, if not necessary, to fix in order to get what she wants. But through seeing Link and Zelda's desire to help her throughout the game, she changed and came around in the end. Okay, so we've understood that the wolf part is connected to the belief of the Twilight people, believing that the hero of many tales and legends would appear as a divine beast. Animals, such as wolves, are often described as beasts, sometimes from a point of fear, but also in terms of their ability to fight. The divine title obviously comes from Link being the hero. He is divine, which is sort of the answer to why a wolf. When any other person enters the nasty Twilight-infected area, or is just caught up in one like the majority of the kingdom, they instantly become spirits, blue, greenish, translucent figures lost for eternity in this horrible mix of light and shadow, something that shouldn't mix. This is two realms of different planes of existence merging, causing this awful effect. I mean, it's also of Zant's doing, but hey, I want to make it sound sciencey. But when Link enters this realm, he doesn't turn into a spirit, because that little triangle on his hand, that little Dorito looking thing, due to the influence of the Triforce of Courage, Link isn't turned into a spirit, rather a spirit animal. And if you've ever heard that term, then this will click now. If not, to quickly explain, a spirit animal is basically an animal you as a person feel most connected to, associated with, and all of that. In terms of personality and nature, being the brave and skilled hero, his match is this beast, a divine wolf, Wolf Link. I mean, I'm sure it could have been others, but this just happens to be what's most associated with him. And that's, without having to explain the entire lore of the game and its backstory in full, the reason why Link turns into specifically a wolf in Twilight Princess. One of the funny things about this is that Zant actually tries to keep Link as a wolf by cursing him with a Twilight Crystal. So even when in the non-infected areas, he'd be stuck as a wolf. But as you know, Link should only turn into a beast when in a Twilight infected area. So this curse that Zant put on him was pretty bad. But the solution to this is locating the Master Sword and with its divine power, cleansing the curse from within Link. From that point, Link can actually freely swap between Hylian form and wolf form with the help of Midna, which in my opinion was the best thing the developers could have done with the concept of Wolf Link. For the first 3 dungeons, you are forced to be Wolf Link for 3 segments prior to each of them. Following this, instead of losing Wolf Link for the rest of the game after getting the Master Sword, we are given the ability, thanks to Midna, to switch freely and continue using the awesome mechanics the fluffy hero provides. And just to reiterate, that is why Link turns into a wolf and a bit of the lore surrounding it. I know this video was a bit on the shorter side, but it's something I've wanted to talk about for a while. I mean, I always want Twilight Princess videos on the channel, and I love talking about the lore, sometimes the stuff that's not as well known, and I thought that's what this video would be. A simple way to explain why Link turns into a wolf. So, I hope you enjoyed. Oh, and Wolf Link is seen again in Breath of the Wild through the Wolf Link amiibo, which I personally found very cool, but it is a bit weird when you start thinking about how this is the hero Link, but so is this. Zelda Fury incoming? Thanks a ton for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing for more fabulous Zelda content. If you haven't already, be sure to hop in our Discord server through the link below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram to keep up to date, and as always, a huge special thank you goes out to all of my supporters across Patreon and YouTube. If you'd like to join them and get yourself a share upon joining and your name at the end of every video, then consider supporting. Again, thanks for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.